Constructive notice of a lien is given when a party records a deed of trust. When a real estate broker is charged with conversion, it most generally involves clients' funds. In real estate financing, the secondary mortgage market relates to federal policing of the savings and loan associations. A real estate broker that is found guilty of discriminatory practices for not renting an apartment he managed to a couple because they were not of the Caucasian race would be subject to which of the following penalties? Payment of actual damages. Under the federal Fair Housing Law, if persons of a minority race contact a real estate office and ask any one of the sales staff about the availability of homes in a certain price bracket, and indicate their interest in inspecting the homes, the salesperson is required to show them the same number of homes that would be shown to any prospect making a similar inquiry. Title to real property may be transferred or conveyed in all of the following ways except prescription. A remedy in court compelling a vendor to execute a deed in pursuance of a valid written contract is known as specific performance. The status of the escrow holder for both parties is that of an agent. A survey that refers to fractional sections, townships, and ranges is a legal description by metes and bounds. Johnson used a one-lane road to get to his mountain cabin. One day he found the road blocked by a chain with a lock. This action by his neighbor had to do with which of the following? Easements. The above symbol represents which of the following? Equal housing opportunity. A note on which interest only is paid during its term is called a straight note. In a percentage lease, the rental is usually based on a percentage of the gross sales with a minimum rental. No subdivision lots can legally be sold or leased prior to all of the above. If the annual interest rate is 4.5% and the monthly interest payment is $22.50, the principal sum would be $6,000. In Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, Congress declared a national policy providing fair housing throughout the United States. All of the above. This policy applies to which of the following? The capitalization rate of an income-producing property is the ratio between the If the annual interest rate is 4.5% and the monthly interest payment is $22.50, the principal sum would be $6,000. In Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, Congress declared a national policy providing fair housing throughout the United States. This policy applies to which of the following? All of the above. The capitalization rate of an income-producing property is the ratio between the market value and its net income. The institution that invests most of its funds in home loans is the Savings and Loan Association. The purpose of mortgage insurance under FHA financing is to protect the lender in the event of a default. A licensed real estate agent may refuse to show a home that was available for sale to a person of a minority race provided the owners were out of town and had left instructions that the home was not to be shown to anyone during this period of time. A lien created under the Street Improvement Act of 1911 would be superior to all of the above. One of the chief differences between an attachment and a judgment is that the judgment is effective after a court has rendered a decision. Assume that after you purchased a property you find that your neighbor has mistakenly built a fence 3 feet over the property line. This would be an example of An encroachment. If the U.S. government obtained a lien against a taxpayer who failed to report a certain portion of his rental income, it would be classified as general. Which of the following is not a requirement of a grant deed? Signature of grantee. All of the following acts would be a violation of the California Fair Housing Law, Rumford Act, except an owner of a single-family residence refuses to rent a room prospective tenant because of their religious beliefs. A married couple who are selling their residence in which they have resided for the past 10 years may exclude which of the following as the maximum amount of a possible capital gain from the sale of the residence? $500,000. An attorney in fact can best be described as a legally competent person who has been given the power of attorney by another competent person. A group of neighbors who had pleaded with their neighbor Charles to stop burning garbage on his property, finally obtained a court order to stop him from continuing to do so. This court order would be known as an injunction. A landlord would be in violation of the California Fair Housing Law if he or she required each prospective tenant to secure a CO signer for the lease if the prospect is an unmarried individual. The maximum allowable commission that can be paid by an owner of real property to a real estate broker for the negotiation of a lease agreement is limited by agreement between the parties. The initials SBB and M, HB and M, and MDB and M refer to points in the U.S. government survey system. Once an abstract of judgment is recorded, it becomes a general lien on all real property of the debt for a period of 10 years. If unpaid, a mechanic's lien may be filed by any of the above. Which of the following would be an example of the exercise of police power? All of the above. Anyone offering to sell parcels of land to residents of California when the land is located in the state of Arizona must file with the Federal Trade Commission. In the event a licensee is found guilty of violating the anti-discrimination regulations of the Real Estate Commissioner, the Commissioner may take which of the following legal actions against the licensee: revocation or suspension of the license of the individual, a contract between the seller of a home and real estate broker, whereby the seller agrees to pay the broker a commission if he procures a buyer ready, willing, and able to buy, and the broker agrees to use due diligence, is called a bilateral executory contract. Riparian rights is the right of the owner of land that borders a river to take and use a reasonable amount of the water. Which of the following terms best describes a money encumbrance? Lien. Which of the following lenders would least be apt to disburse loan funds to cover construction costs of a single-family residence? Life insurance company. Enforcement of the state housing law is local building inspectors. Which of the following persons is required to hold a valid California real estate broker's license? A mortgage loan broker. When a trust deed and note are used on a purchase money loan secured by real property, the trustor is the party that signs the trust deed and note. The building residual technique is used in which of the following methods of appraisal? Capitalization of the net income. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel.